wish me luck, guys. Right, so I'm going to go right wide over here to line myself up. I'm just hoping no one's coming out. So let's see. There's some shallows down here that I don't like getting involved with, but to make the turn at the front I've sort of got to. I didn't start my turn into this canal till way too late. Really got it wrong. Now I'm going to go in a crazy angle and probably bump. I've done better. Nearly. Do you know what I did there? I started turning like too late. I should have started like here. Schoolboy error, schoolboy error. Anyway, never mind. You take care, guys. Ta-ra. We are in and on the Ashby. Apparently the guy said, the guy on the bridge, obviously he must be a bit of an expert at narrowboat turns, because they paused their bike ride there. He said, I saw someone last week who did a worse turn. So that was like cock up of the week, of this week, but it wasn't his all-time cock up, clearly. Someone surpassed me just last week. So here we are. I'm going to find out, I think shortly, if that boat is following me. I am interested because I'd like to go slow, but I'd like to just tootle along at 1200 RPM. What am I doing now? 1200 RPM, there we go. It's not the fastest. We are doing, why am I bothering? Why do I even put myself through this? 0.8 miles an hour. 0.8, and then it jumps to 3.1 and then 2.6. This is the end. This ends now. I've got to get a speedoer. I've just got to. I can't. This thing's been taunting me for 4 years, this speedometer. Maybe it's the sat nav on this particular phone, the position. Anyway, I'm not making excuses for it. It's garbage. Yeah, I'll get a speedo. Anyway, you know, first world problems, to be fair. So my sort of, the farm shop, this is where, right, the military, my old military planning brain comes in, swings into action, like the action of a bolt action rifle. I'm talking shite, aren't I? Sorry, but it is anyway. It springs into action. It's no good having a farm shop by the canal, right, unless you can stop your boat. Now, you can't stop your boat on there, right? See that bank? Nasty. Overgrown, fronds, bushes, leaves, all sorts. You would have to use mooring pins, which nobody wants to, not me, wants to do. Nobody wants to do that. And you would also be eaten alive by insects that would board the boat from all of those bushes. So that's no good. That's no good. There's a bend here, by the way, so it's sort of putting me off my waffle a tad. Oh, there's no point having a farm shop, I was going to say, if you can't stop your boat at it, you know. I mean, it's there for civilians in cars, isn't it? But who cares about them? Frankly, you know, it's the boater's point of view here. So, you know, they've got all the other shops and stuff they can visit. You know, us boaters can't. I'm liking it so far. It looks really rural. It's not, because we're passing close to the south end of Nuneaton, a couple of miles further on there. But take a look at this. You know, it's fields as far as you can see on the right. And I think that is genuinely rural. And at the moment it's fields on the left as well. But I know there's a town sort of somewhere up there. But at the moment it's super pleasant. I've got to say it's a little bit narrower than I would have liked and than I remember. I'm used to canals being a tad wider than this, unless it's just a narrow section. But I know this canal's shallow. I think passing boats on the Ashby is a little bit more challenging than on some canals. We'll see. Bridge, yeah, this is coming up to bridge 2, then bridge 3. The one I'm interested in stopping at is bridge 5, so it's not far. Something I'm feeling, I'm not feeling the forward motion proportional to the revs that I'm doing. Normally I'd be expecting to move a bit faster, and I think that can happen on shallow canals. It's called sucking bottom. Boaters have the most disgusting nicknames for things, but you know, your stern is so low down, there's a suction effect as it goes over the bottom of the canal. Do you know when this canal would be lovely in the winter? Because it would be full up, the level would be brim full, and be dead quiet as well. There's a couple of facts I know off the top of my head about the Ashby Canal that I remember from a decade ago when I came, and one of the interesting ones is there are no locks. Now, your first reaction to that as a lazy bugger like me is brill, no locks, no hard work, fantastic. Here's a boat approaching me, but I've got reeds as well. I might just hover. I've got a wide section here, I think I'll hover here. He's not going fast, he's not a speedster, so I think I'll just wait. Now most boaters would not dream of doing this. What I'm doing here is I'm hovering in a section, before a section that isn't even that narrow. I could squeeze past, we could squeeze through there together, but I'm going to be excessively polite and just let him go through. Afternoon. He's probably wondering why I waited when I could have squeezed past. But that is unusual, you know. Don't take, this isn't the way to do boats. In fact, it's the way, if anything, it's the way not to do boats. Yeah, don't do this. Most boaters would just go through there, and it's generous, like, it's just. Anywho, bridge 3 coming up, and I remember when I hired the hire boat back in 2013. I think it might have been 2014, but anyway, when I hired the boat, I kind of raced up and down. I did that thing of assuming a average speed of 3 miles an hour, which is just totally unrealistic. If you're polite and you slow down for more boats, you're not going to do 3 miles an hour. Now, some people don't care, just press on, and great, you know. Anyway, so I raced up and down this canal in a pretty impolite way. I hadn't cottoned on. I think the guys had mentioned it back at base. Slow down when you pass a more boat. There were so many instructions. That one sort of didn't register as deeply as it should have, and we got shouted at. We passed the boat pretty much going flat out because I was desperate to get to the Bosworth battlefield site. You know, I was really interested in seeing it. I thought we'll do it, a cruise to it on the boat. So I was foot down, and the guy quite rightly told me off. And you know what? He didn't swear. Fair play to the guy. He was one of those dishevelled, you know, big hairy, dishevelled, bearded type. And he said, "Oh, some people live here." I remember the phrase. "Oh, slow down, some people live here." And I was sort of, I think I went like, "Oh, I'm so sorry," you know, like sarcastic. Well, really, I was in the wrong. I was totally in the wrong. I was probably doing 4 miles an hour. The engine on this little 35-foot narrowboat was tick, 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 you know, really going, hammering away. Literally sounded like someone hammering on sheet steel. Or 2 or 3 very rapidly, you know, just very noisy engine. There's some visitor moorings here, but it's too soon for me. This sounds crazy, and I said it was going to be a short cruise. Should I go to Hinkley? What time is it? We're due for some rain, but it's not going to be nasty rain. It's not going to be all heavy and horrible. Dragonflies. Right, okay. I need to watch out, guys. We're getting very rural. We've got no towns on either side at the moment. So those little bastard horseflies are like, yeah. They want a piece of the action. They want a piece of me. You want a piece of me? Huh? You want a piece of me? You want a piece of me? Can't quite get it, can I? Hey, you want a piece of me? Hey, hey, hey. What are you, crazy? Get out of here. Bridge 3A, then Bridge 4. Bridge 3A is the railway bridge by the looks of things. You can see all the... Okay, well, I think if there was any doubt about it being a railway bridge, I think we've just dispelled that. Anyway, so that was Bridge 3, Bridge 4. The next bridge is Bridge 5. Now, Bridge 5 was where I was planning to stop, but I'm rethinking this entire mission. I am starting to rethink the entire mission here. I'm too far over. Let's get round. Too far over onto the right. No good will come of it. Right. So I'm rethinking the plan. On the fly. I was going to stop at Bridge 5. It's 5 or 6 where I can reach the farm shop. 6 is best, it's really close, but I didn't see any moorings. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to try 6. I'm watching, I'm seeing things flying. Yeah, I'm seeing things flying, right? But I can't do anything about it yet because I'm heading to the bank and I'm going round the bend here. And there could be boats, and I'm just careering around the place like a madman. They sense CO2, is it, horseflies? They sense heat. I think colour. They're attracted to darker colour, I think. Did I read somewhere or watch on YouTube? I should never quote anything that I watch on YouTube. That's just fake, isn't it? That's like saying, I'm going to tell you a really stupid thing that I heard from a really stupid person who I don't even know, but I reckon it sounds right. And what on earth? I've got no idea what is going on behind that hedge, but it sounds really violent. Do you know what's surprising me though, guys, is how few boats I've seen coming the other way. Normally kiss of death, so touch wood and all that. Horsefly, you little bastard. Guys, I've got to sort this out. got to get some repellent on. I'm just going to get clobbered here. There's a water point somewhere as well. I think the water point is on the entrance to Hinckley, which is probably about 3-4 miles still to go. And one feature which I'm not that impressed with is there aren't lots and lots of options to moor here. Right, let's go down to 1000 RPM, tick over ish. This boat's even got a sign on it, please slow down. So I think up ahead I've got Bridge 5. That's the first option. There's a town, the edge of a town, a few hundred yards there. So there are shops and things, but you know, don't need any shops, don't need any of that. But this is also a place where I would moor. The farm shop is within riding distance. The only problem is I'm not that keen because there's no other boats. It's a bit isolated, really. It is a little bit isolated. I'd rather press on to Bridge 6. So the 2-day moorings here, it says 2-day moorings, right? But they've not given you rings. Oh no, there are. Now I can see some. So this would be a good spot, except it just feels a bit too isolated to me. And also, I can maybe stop here on the way out, on the way off the Ashby canal. So this is Bridge 5. This is one route to get to that farm shop that I've been rattling on about. Bridge 6 is much closer. So I'm keeping me hopes up, Bridge 6. If Bridge 6 has got a boat there, even if it's just one boat, and there's mooring spots, I'll stop for the day and I'll do the farm shop in the morning. I'm trying to sort of think if any of it rings any bells. Like the entrance bit did, the stonework on the way in the narrow channel. Well, not really since then. Nothing since then has really, you know, hit my memory. Honestly, I know I've said this before, I don't have a problem at all. Don't have a problem with those park homes, except for the depreciation. That's the only thing. Whereas a house of bricks and mortar will just keep on increasing in value, normally anyway. Those things, you'll still pay 100 grand for one of them, and maybe more. And you'll pay site rent as well, just to have it there, usually. But over time, they depreciate, don't they? The metal frame will deteriorate, the plastics, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
Afternoon.
So we decided that we would...
People having a conversation across the canal. But yeah, he's obviously the owner, the guy there on this side of one of those park homes. I don't know, I keep saying park homes, that's not a universal label. Like lodges is one, mobile homes is another. But these are more than that. These are more than that because they've got like a brick wall, a layer of brick around the bottom, most of them. They're not just, in a normal sort of park home situation, mobile home situation, mobile home is just sort of plonked on legs, I think, isn't it? Bricks or, you know, whatever. These things are built, they've built a course of brick. I think it's called a course. I don't know. I'm sort of protected from the rain because it's a bit forested here. But as soon as it opens out, I'm going to get clobbered. The Park Home Estate is still going on, by the way. This is a big one, guys. I want to have a look at the map, right, and do a bit of a feasibility assessment on the idea of just going straight to Hinckley. Right, Bridge 6 is, oh, it's a fair way. It's 3/4 of a mile to Bridge 6. After Bridge 6 there's some moorings, and after that we've got a big stretch of 2.5 miles as the crow flies, but it's a huge loop, so it could be as many as 4 miles from where we are. So if it's about 2 o'clock now, I'll be stopped at about 4, which is fine, no problem. There's a horsefly. I'd started to get the impression, you little bastard, I'd started to get the impression that, sorry guys, horsefly alert. Where's the dragonflies when you need them to eat these little bastards? They're so hard to spot as well, you know, background of trees and bushes. Sunday afternoon, 2 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon, peak boating time, very slight drizzle, manageable. No, that wouldn't put boaters off. It didn't even put me. If I'm not put off, I'm like the lowest common denominator in many respects. Skill, clearly. Knowledge of boats, definitely. But I thought this could get a bit naughty, and it's been okay. I think I was delayed in Coventry for a week. My foot swelled up. Didn't bang into anything. I don't know what was going on. But it was the day after Trev left. Trev was there for a few days with me, and the day after he left, I just noticed the foot was getting quite sore and swollen, and then I couldn't get it into the shoe. I could barely get it into a slip. I had to cut the slipper to squeeze the foot in. And I suspect it was an attack of gout. So I've instituted a regime of a reduction in terms of alcohol. I was probably drinking 4 or 5 nights a week. Not going crazy, but you know, half a dozen cans of beer, and it's too much. You've got to give your body a rest. There's a horsefly. I think it's a horsefly. So now I'm down to like 2 nights a week, and I'm hoping that will banish any further recurrence of this foot thing, which I presume was gout. What a horrible thing to find out, but you know, I'm 61. The wind's getting up a bit here, so it's sort of making it difficult for them. But anyway, sorry. So I was delayed in Coventry. I rang up CRT and said I've got a very sore foot, can't really walk on it. So they said, okay, stay there an extra week. Then came out, and I was about a week at Hawkesbury Junction. So I should have been here 2 weeks earlier, and at that time the water level here was at least a foot lower than normal, and that is a bit of a hairy problem on this canal. That is a bit, you know, it's known to be a shallow canal, not a deep canal, and the banks, you know, slope up. So anywhere near the banks, within a yard or two of the banks, you're probably grinding on the bottom. Nightmare. So I was delayed, and just in the last sort of week or so, we've had just enough rain where it's just sort of topped it up a bit, and it's only maybe 5 inches down, I would guess 5-6 inches, which is a lot more doable than a foot. A foot is a problem. And people were telling me, well, you know, don't know about the Ashby, no, we'll do it now, you know. But that's the way some boats are. Some boaters, when you ask them, they'll give you doom and gloom. Oh, I wouldn't do the Leeds and Liverpool, you know, wouldn't do that canal. All those swing bridges, you're there forever. Angry motorists as you're holding them up with the bridge. All of that. Blockages, stoppages. And then other boaters will just say, sod it, I'll deal with it when I get there, and I'll just go for it. And Peter, my sort of boating buddy from Northwich area, absolute such a hoot, honest to God. He's mad, but in a good way. Lovely bloke. But anyway, he said, I was regurgitating all this negativity about the Leeds and Liverpool, and he said, well, look, if you focus on the negatives and the potential problems, you'd never go on any canal, or at least, you'd only go on half of them. And that stuck with me. Because I am inclined to overthink the potential snags and issues. It is something I'm definitely prone to doing. I've got that kind of mindset, unfortunately, that looks ahead to potential difficulties with any option that I'm looking at doing. And I see too many problems, and I ended up, like paralysis creeps in, and you end up taking no action because you're not quite sure which is the best course of action. The Ashby will still be busy. Don't let's delude ourselves. It's a very popular canal, especially because there's no locks. I don't know how long I'm going to stay. That's the other thing. I don't know how long I'm going to stay on this canal. I feel like maybe 2 weeks. Is that a seagull doing there? Take my word for it, I can't be bothered swinging the camera around all over the place. But it was a genuine seagull. So, quick map check. Let's see how we're doing. Right, bridge 6 is coming up 1/5 of a mile. Floating debris. Going on. Yeah, bridge 6 is coming up. There's definitely some mornings after bridge 6, but if the towpath isn't really rideable. I don't know. I'll see how many boats there are. It's nice to moor in these quiet places. It is nice. I remember first mooring the boat in a quiet location, and for the first half hour, when you sort of sat there inside, you do have those thoughts of, when you're very first, like, what if there are nutcases around here, or do you know, how safe am I? What? You're just unused to sleeping in locations where there's no people. It's so novel. It was so novel to me to be spending the night in a location with no other people, having lived in a town, and just always been in towns. But the idea of sleeping in a quiet rural location was just slightly unnerving just in itself. So I'm doing 1250, and to be honest with you, I'm not moving very fast. I don't know what the deal is, possibly because it's gone shallow again, I don't know. But I'm not moving as fast as I feel like I should be. Right, here's bridge 6. Okay, so here's where we're close into the farm shop. It's got five stars. Was it 4.9? Might be 4.9. 4.9? Jeez, that's incredible. The scary ones are when you see places with ratings of like 2.5. I can't. Even if I'm starving, I'm going to be very careful what I order, like a fish maybe, or something you can see, something that can't be tampered with. Right, so there's nowhere to moor before the bridge 6. I can see that now. And it's a question of, there's moorings about 1/3 of a mile further on, but if the towpath is impassable, then there's no point. Or if there's no boats there. Do you know what? I genuinely, I'm being a bit silly saying I won't stop if there's no boats. I mean, That is a bit daft, really, to be fair. Why would I be worried about the idea of mooring on my own in a remote-ish, you know, at least a secluded location? Like, I know, you know, the obvious answer is axe murdering is the reason, or murdering of any sort. Never a good idea. But, you know, even I've had to admit the actual chances of that are just almost zero. Right, so how can I get up to the road here? I'm looking for a route. I didn't see one. I think there's a way up to the road here. I need to turn the boat. But there's nowhere to moor the boat. So there, about 300 yards in that direction, is a farm shop. I can't get to it. So there's moorings further up. So what I've got to do here, make sure the towpath is travelable on a bike, which I can't really see very well. It's not looking great. It's grass and mud and doesn't look too lumpy. Looks like I could do it. Wouldn't be great, but I could do it. So let's see what the moorings look. Oh, I went over something then. Let's see what the moorings look like. So the good news is, right, a guy on a bike just passed me there. So he's coming down the towpath. So the towpath is rideable. Towpath is definitely rideable. We've got that kind of crazy rain that is so intermittent and slow that you almost dry out in between raindrops. So it's sort of not worth putting your coat on. Like, I'm not getting wet. It's raining, but I'm not getting wet. Or noticeably anyway. Still no boats coming the other way. I mean, I'm pleased, but very strange. Then again, I suppose I've only been on the canal an hour. Maybe an hour and a bit. Anyway, the good news is that guy cycled all the way along here. So if there's a boat moored, if it's a bit of Armco or something, I might just pull up here. There's a settlement up on the hill over here. Don't know what, I'll find out when I edit the video. So do I make the stop for the farm shop, or do I press on to Hinckley, the outskirts? Right, now the rain is coming down a little bit more now, so the time has come to don the coat, I think. Not so much worried about the hair, worried about the bloody tiller. Right, here's the arm coat. Here's the arm coat. So down there we've got about 500 yards of bank. Oh, and there's a boat. There's a boat moored on it. And he's sort of occupying it. I could squeeze in behind him. Could I squeeze in front? Sometimes with just one other boat, you look at someone and you think he looks like an axe murderer himself. Like, the boat is the one I need to be worried about. But it's a bend as well, which I'm not keen on. Yeah, I could fit in behind him. Okay guys, I think I'm going to stop. I think I'm going to stop. I'll make it here. Okay guys, here we are, the Ashby Canal, first time in a decade. I'm moored on a section of Armco here. I think there's more up there. There's a boat moored just around that bend. Narrows here, There's trees growing out, bushes growing out, so this could be the scene of some shenanigans because there's poor visibility on the approach. We shall wait and see what happens. There's like a farm over there, looks like maybe a village as well. Behind me I think it's mainly fields, but there is a town somewhere not too far away, but it's super quiet. I've only seen one person on the towpath since I've been moored. So this is a place where you can get work done, you know, without constant passers-by. Not that they're fast, I sound anti, so passers-by are great, it's just when there's too many of them. Anyway, you know what I mean, you're covered in oil, but there I am anyway. The farm shop is a 500-yard bike ride down there and then 300 yards on the road, so that's going to be easy to get to. It's a bit rough, but it's doable. Guy passed me on a bike as I was on the approach, but it's a beautiful rural mooring. It's really, really nice. What time is it? Yeah, just coming up to 3 o'clock. I didn't expect to be in this place, to be honest. I thought I'd be able to moor by Bridge 6 where the farm shop is, but I couldn't. So I've gone a little way past. But I might be here a couple of days. I'll see how it feels, see how it goes, see what the vibe is, see if I get bumped by passing boats. You know, if there's any nonsense like that goes on, I might rethink. But if it turns out it looks okay, I might give it a couple of days here. The farm shop will see me right for food, so I'll have no problem with that. And I might be able to get a bit of work done. But yeah, beautiful. So quiet.